When we talk about German machines and sedans in particular, we have three main sizes to consider. We have the compact size, we have the mid-compact, and we have the full size. And when we talk about the mid-compact, you might not be able to understand the size we are talking about. But just to give you context, the three German people, wenye tunasemanga Audi, BMW, and Mercedes, I'm going to give you examples, the cars that you actually compete in that segment. We have the BMW 3 Series, we have the Audi A3 stroke A4, and then we have on the Mercedes side we have the Mercedes C-Class. So hizo ndio tunasemanga, hiyo ndio the compact size. And maybe kama bado hujaelewa the size in terms of context, naweza kupatia another example. The bigger brother of the BMW 3 Series is called the 5 Series. Watu wa Audi tuko na A5 stroke A6, and then on the Mercedes side we have the E-Class. And kama bado hujaweza kupata context ya the compact and the mid-compact, we have the full size sedans. Upande wa Audi we have the A8, on the Mercedes side we have the S-Class, and then on the BMW side we have the BMW 7 Series. But today we are going to be concentrating on the 3 Series of the BMW. So that means leo tunaongelea the compact sedan. But today iko na twist pia, haitakuwa an actual sedan, but it is a version of a sedan. Now stick with me as we find out the car that I've brought for you today, so that we know whether it is actually a good buy or you should only consider it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time and wherever you're watching this from. Welcome to another episode of Auto Insights, the ultimate destination for car enthusiasts and consumers. Na kama in case you had forgotten or if you don't know, my name is Mason Juguna. Na leo tuko hapa na my director, Mr. KMK, ama Michael mwenyewe. Ametusaidia, tumepata a very new shooting location. Wenye wanaandikanga hapo kwa comment ati hapo ni karibu na NNP, sijui hapo ni Ring Road. Hapa ni wapi? Leo utaweza kuguess. Hebu tuone hapo kwa battle kama kuna watu wataweza kuguess leo. And as you have seen in the intro, leo tumeongelea kuhusu the compact sedan. Na at least nimeweza kuincorporate watu wa Audi kwa sababu wao ndio ni kama last born, wana complainingi sana. Auguzi Audi, sijui Audi, sijaisikia watu wa Benz wakicomplain, so I don't know. Watu wa Audi nyinyi mnakaa tu kama tu last born, kucomplain tu, kulia tu mashida kila saa. But unfortunately, leo bado si Audi, it is yet another BMW. And the reason why tunafanyanga BMW nilisema is because most of my friends own BMWs, and you just have to love BMWs. I may be biased, but I try to run across the board, niwatafutie each and every make. Na tulisema in case uko na an interesting car ama an interesting vehicle, whether ni 2-wheel ama ni 4 wheels, it does not matter. Just reach out to me, tutaweza kushowcase hiyo gari, whether ni matatu ama ni basi, ni nganya, ni lori, ni nini. As long as inatusaidia in terms of the consumers, enthusiasts, hiyo tunakuwa tuna welcome hiyo maneno. And before niendelee mambo mingi, as you can see the weather is weathering. Sijui mahali huko kama weather ni mzuri, but yeah, nimevaa kabuti kama ya watchman, not because ni fashion, but because it is very cold. Now before we talk about the design of the E46 which we have today, I want to go back in time, in history, tujue the 3 series ya BMW ilianzia lini? And we are going to start with the first generation of the 3 series known as the E21, which was introduced for the model year 1975. Nani alikuwa amezaliwa 1975? Eka hapo kwa comment tujue saa hii how many grandchildren do you have? Now in 1975 the 3 series was introduced along the 5 series which was the E28 along the 7 series which was known as the E23. So the 3 series was more of a car that you would buy in case huna familia kubwa, maybe wewe ni kijana, you are young and you want a sporty car that you could take from point A to B. But remember, nikisema compact ama 3 series, it is a luxurious machine. This was not the Corollas that you'd buy from the 70s. This was more expensive. So wale watu walikuwa na more expensive jobs, high paying jobs, na walikuwa vijana, you want the sportiness and the luxuriousness of the vehicle, lakini utaki gari kubwa kwa sababu ya the cost, and perhaps those people who say that big vehicles don't handle well, you'd get the 3 series. Now the E21, if you want to denote the E21, ilikuja na the shark nose design. So we talked about the E23 in the E65 BMW 7 series, na mliweza kuona the E23 vile ilikuwa inakaa, but I'm going to overlay some pictures here so that you guys understand what I'm talking about. Ilikuwa na the shark nose design with the quad headlights that were quintessential BMW design. Now after hapo tuliingia kwa gari inaitwa the E30, which is known to be the best BMW 3 series period. So kama kuna mtu anataka kuargue hapo, mimi msini tag mahali, piganeni hapo kwa comment, but it is said that the E30 is the best looking and the best handling, best driving BMW 3 series to date. Mimi nimesema hivyo, mimi nilisoma mahali. It is said, that's why I have said it is said. But personally, I feel like the E30 is one of the best looking cars, and being the successor to the E21, I think that BMW did a very good job in terms of the design, in terms of the driving, and the E30 came along with some new changes. Tulipata vitu kama the all-wheel drive with the model that was known as the 325iX. Now watu wa siku hizi wenye wamezoea the modern BMWs, you have heard of the X-Drive. Now X-Drive hiyo siku haikuwa inaitwa X-Drive. Ukitaka kujua gari ilikuwa all-wheel drive ama 4-wheel drive, it was denoted by the X hapo mwisho. So whether it was a diesel ama ilikuwa ni petrol. So for the petrols ilikuwa na I, the diesel ilikuwa ni D. So if you'd see the 325 TDX, that would mean that is a diesel with an all-wheel drive system. Without the X, just the regular, good, old-fashioned rear-wheel drive system that we all love. Watu wa Audi na Quattro, how do you have fun with your cars? Anyway, nitaacha kuchongoa watu wa Audi. The next generation came about, it was known as the E36. Now the E36 ilikuwa ni departure from the normal BMWs that we had seen at that era. Ilikuja na a slightly more modern design in terms of tukiangalia kama the headlights haiko inatumia those round headlights. Ilikuwa na the same elements hapo ndani, but the cover of the headlights, the lens rather, was one piece. It was different, and that signified that BMW was now embracing change. Now the E36 came about with some few different models, some shapes. We had the compact, which was now we are talking about compacts, but now there was a more compact version of the 3 series, which personally I find to be quite ugly, but it is said that some people actually love them. And then we had the regular sedan, we had the coupe, and we also had, no, we did not have a hatchback. So I think BMW would have done a good thing by introducing a hatchback of that version. But kama niko incorrect, please make sure hapo chini umetu correct. Now, today we are going to be talking about the next generation after the E36, which is known as the E46. Now the E46 iliundwa na jamaa anaitwa Chris Bangle in collaboration with another German guy, sikumbuki jina yake, but I'll make sure nitaiweka mahali hapa chini so that you guys pia compete ku pronounce kwa sababu ni ngumu. Si ati sikumbuki, ni jina ni iko na hizo German things that are quite heavy on my tongue. Mimi ni mtu wa Murima, so mentioning that name kuna mahali italeta shida. But Chris Bangle being working in collaboration with that guy, hiyo jina nitaweka hapa, they did a very good job with that generation of the 3 Series. And this was now a very new and modern era for BMW. Hapa ndio tulianza kuona technologies. And in terms of technology, hizi gari zilikuja na vitu mingi that maybe even modern cars za budget, you might not be able to find such features. So the E46 came with xenon headlights. Yes, that is back in 1998, 1999. Though it was introduced in 1997, but zilianza ku roll out in 1999 officially. And xenon headlights at the time, tulisema the E38 was the first vehicle to introduce xenon headlights. Na hiyo technology, you still find some cars mpaka size natumia xenon even after LEDs were introduced. Now the E46 also zilikuja na vitu kama electronic brake force distribution, which we are going to talk about hapo baadaye kidogo. And also watu wenye wanapenda hizi gari modern za budget, this car here ilikuja na kitu inaitwa electric rain sensing wipers. So hakuna kutumia the wiper stock. Mvua ikianza kunyesha, the car detects that, alafu inaanza kutumia tu wiper yenyewe. You see, now tunasemanga BMW being ahead in terms of technology na nini, na watu wanasema tuna favor BMW, this and that. But you see, Germans in general wanafanyanga vitu zingine that you do not expect, but they are there. And you see even modern cars, saa hii unapata kuna gari ambayo haina such features, yet it is a 2025 model. But anyway, we are now going to go into the design of the E46 to do what is all about this car today. Now we have to agree that the design of the E46 was a very good looking car, and Chris Bangle and the guy mwenye tulisema hatutataja leo did a very good job. Na tukianzia na something, in fact I want to say something before tuingie the design. Audi kuna mahali walicheza kivyao. It is said that Audi were the ones that introduced daytime running lights, but kuna kitu hawaku introduce, and BMW did it better. Kuna kitu inaitangwa angel eyes. So now when we get into the headlights, you will see that we have the same quad design, ama the quintessential design yenye tulikuwa tumezoea with the quad lights, but now encased in a different housing, which when you're driving, you're going to be seeing 2 rings ambazo tunaitanga the angel eyes. And you might have wondered ati ni kama ni aftermarket mode that people do. Before the E46, people used to do it aftermarket, but the E46 kuendelea, it was actually almost a standard feature, unless you got those cheap halogen lamps. But if you got the xenon headlamps, you would get the angel eyes, and I think that design is quite nice. And this car actually looks like what we call the E39, which is the bigger brother, the 5 Series. And ukiangalia hiyo design across, huwa zinakuwa zinafanana, the E39, the E38, which the E38 is the 7 Series, the even larger brother of the E39, which the E39 is larger than the E46. But tukiendelea hapa kwa grills, the kidney grills as we are used to by BMW, we can see that the owner of this amecheza kachiki game kidogo. Ameweka the dual slats zenye tumezoea on the M3 version of this car, which is a nice touch because that means that this car has a better air intake. Yani in terms of air entering the radiator, this one is actually more opened compared to the normal version of this car. Na before to talk hapa kwa why he has done this, I'm going to give you a hint that this one has a different engine. So probably why he did this, but in terms of looks, I think it just makes the car a bit more aggressive. Now this one being, it came as a 330 Ci, meaning that it had the M54. So we had the versions that had the M52, the M54. This one has sitawape siri sahi, but this one had the M54 B30, which is a 6-cylinder 3-liter engine. Quite powerful, but mwenyewe alisema kidogo, I want a bit more power. Now, how do you know that it was a 330 Ci? Unaangalia the design of the bumper. The 325 haikuwa na hiyo design, and also the 330 haikuwa na hiyo design, the 320 haikuwa na hiyo design, and the 318 sasa ile ya mkulima mdogo with the M43, hiyo pia haikuwa na hiyo design hata kidogo. It was not meant to be sporty, but the 330 Ci was meant to be sporty, hence the sporty looking bumper. Na tukiangalia vizuri, we can see that BMW were used to put in fog lamps back in the day because they knew zinasaidianga sana in terms of the European weather. And this one being the sporty version of the E46, not quite the M3, we can see that hapa tu kando ya the grill, the fog lamps, we have a nice grill that pushes air towards the brake, and some of it is channeled towards the radiator. And tukiendelea hapo mbele bado, you can see that the opening of the lower bumper section is also quite larger, and compared to the normal E46s zenye see the sporty version, tunaweza on a big difference that they don't have a sporty looking bumper, na pia in terms of the size of the openings, they are quite small. Now something that you'll note with the E46 is that we now lost the headlamp washers. Watu wenye wamezoea watch my channel, you've seen we've had almost 3. Sijui kama director ana agree na mimi. I think we've had 3 cars zenye zimekuwa na the wipers, whether ni the digital ones ama ni the old mechanical ones, but kutoka hapa they seem to have removed them. They reserved it for the 5 series and the 7 series, which is something that I used to think is, interesting, because hiyo ni kitu unaweza brag nayo, but hapa ilitolewa. But anyway, tukielekea sasa, I think we are going now to be talking about the side of this car. There's not much to talk about in the front because one last thing before tutoke hapa mbele, the design of the hood. Now tukiongea kwa E30, the E30 Touring, we had seen a similar design where mataa inabaki, ukifungua hood inaenda pamoja na but that is now in the boot. Hii sasa walieka opposite. So when you open the hood, which I'll show you in another shot, when you open the hood inafunguka pamoja na the grills, which is a very interesting design. I've not seen that in other cars, but this is quite interesting. Na hapa, the design of the hood itself, we have some contours, and it just makes the car feel muscular. Ni kama inajaribu kukuhint kitu iko hapa ndani is a monster. And we are going to see what is inside the hood when we get to the performance side. So let's go to the side of this vehicle. Now we come to the side profile of the E46 Coupe. Na hapa ndio watu wengi sasa wataanza kuona I've seen something similar. And my producer venye alisikia tunaenda kushoot hii gari, aliona a picture na akasema I have seen that car somewhere. And kama wewe unaona umeiona mahali na ukumbuki ni wapi, the most wanted NFS most wanted ama Need for Speed most wanted ya 2005, you may have seen a similar car yeah, the protagonist, which was the BMW M3 GTR. So hii si M3 na si GTR, but it was from the same car essentially. So the difference in the engine and the build, but this is generally the shape, and this is where I find this car to be very beautiful, kwa sababu mimi kuongea ukweli, I feel like coupes are the best looking cars, and sisi wenye tunachukia kubeba watu wa lift, kama director ananiambianga hao watu wa lift bana, mimi sipendi kubeba watu wa lift. This one is not designed kubeba watu wa lift. Ni wewe pengine with your dad, your mom ama msupa wako, and hapo nyuma ni pets ama shopping. Hii si ya kubeba watu huko nyuma. But in terms of practicality tutaingia tuende tujue. Now in terms of the design of the side profile, the first thing on the fender tutaongelea the side repeater, which is inakaa kama a triangular shape. Interesting design. I don't know the idea behind that, but yeah, at least see the normal oval ones zenye tumezoea kwa the likes of other makes. And tukikuja hapa chini kidogo, we can see that we have some fender lining, well, not fender lining, we have some trim that runs from the wheel arc of the front wheel to the rear one. And then BMW kama kawaida, we have this line yenye ina run from this wheel arc hapa, and then inaenda ina connect na mataa. We've seen this on the 7 Series, we've seen this on the E30. Tumeona almost all BMWs, it's a norm to have the line yenye inatoka kutoka hapa and mpaka huko nyuma, and it just adds to the design and breaks the monotony of the body. And tukikuja hapa kwa the side mirror, this is a very good looking side mirror. Tulikuwa tumeongelea side mirror ya Tenza, tukasema it's a very beautiful side mirror. Now I found an even more beautiful side mirror here. Very aerodynamic looking, the shape of it is very nice, and yeah, it suits the performance side of this car. Inakufanya ufeel ni kama unaendesha a very expensive vehicle, even though it may not be as expensive as you think. And tukikuja hapa, the front door, we have a very big front door, and the reason is because coupes, being that we don't have mlango ya nyuma, so we have an even bigger door for the driver so that it is easy to get in and to get out. Also the fact that kiti ya mbele lazima ilalishwe ndio mtu aweze kuingia nyuma, so you have to have a big door so that watu waweze kutoshea, but mainly it's for the comfort of the driver. And we have a very interesting feature kwa hii mlango, and it is this window, ama do we call it a mirror? No, it is a window. Hii window, being the coupe, this has watu wa Subaru mnyamaze, kwa sababu mnataka kukimbia hapa kwa comment section mwanza kusema oh hiyo tuko nayo. We have frameless doors, meaning that hapa hakuna frame. The window ina rest tu kwa mlango peke yake. And watu wa Subaru, before mkuje mkimbie mseme ati Legacy tulikuwa nayo, sijui WRX tulikuwa nayo. The difference between that one and hii yenye iko hapa, hiyo yenyu sio advanced. What am I saying? Hii ukifungua this window wanga inateremka slightly, maybe an inch or two, so that the window will not hit the sides of the vehicle, the body of the vehicle. Na ukishafunga wanga inapanda so that it seals against the weather. Wacha nirudie. Ukifungua dirisha inateremka about an inch, ukifunga inapanda, and the reason for that is to avoid damage on the window when you're closing the door, when you're banging the door. Wale watu wanga wanabang mlango sana sana watu wa lift. So when you close the door, you're not going to damage the window, which would be very expensive, especially coming from a German manufacturer like BMW. The door design, the door handle design is one that we, tulisemanga we love the mechanical feeling door handles and the sound of mechanical door closing sounds. So this one is a mechanical handle that is ergonomic. Somehow, whether you have a big hand or a small one, It is quite easy to open, and then just the way it opens, haitoki nje, inainuka juu. I don't know. It's a very interesting design. Na ukifunga, you hear this mechanical sounds zenye tumezoea from BMW, meaning that these guys mpaka kwa engineering, they make sure that to the last step everything is done in a way that satisfies the driver. Na nitarudi hapa kwa the mechanical. Nimesema BMW have done a very good job in terms of engineering to make sure that the doors are mechanical, so hata mtu akifungua na akifunga, it is also a satisfying feeling. The handle itself feels nice, and then it has that typical BMW mechanical sound that we love to see and hear. Now, before nifike hapa nyuma to another interesting feature, we have this beautiful side skirt, that is sculpted specifically for this car. Now, why I'm saying that is CO2 side skirt imewekwa tu blank. You can see that it has some aerodynamic properties to it, the way that iko funneled in kama ina channel air towards the rear. It's not just there, it has a design, and it is also functional.
Familia bora hujengwa kwa upendo na hunawiri zinapopata nguvu. Kila tonge la Jumbo Grade 1 lina nguvu na wema.
Leo ni Jumbo, lazima tukae gangari.
Kutoka jikoni hadi kazini, Jumbo huhakikisha una nguvu hata baada ya masaa marefu. Tonge moja tu, Jumbo kufufua, kucheza, kufanya kazi, kukua. Nguvu ndio kila kitu, na hiyo ndio siri ya Jumbo. Jumbo Grade 1, kila tonge lina nguvu. Nguvu kwa familia, nguvu ya kazi, nguvu ya ndoto.
Opens out and they get fresh air ventilation, and maybe the way that the components in this old cars was in a fail, maybe your AC is not working. This is quite a nice addition. you can just tilt out the windows, unapata tu the ventilation, and yeah, water will not enter unless the rain is pouring heavily downwards. And tukikuja hapa nyuma, we have a typical BMW fuel cap ama a fuel door that you know, not much to say here. And before nimalizie another side profile, I want to talk about the roof line. You see, I'm 5'8", 5'7", sorry, to that is around 174 centimeters or 100 or 1.7 meters to be precise. And you can see that I am quite tall. I'm taller than the car itself, and this car being on 17s is quite tall. It's taller than the normal E46s, and you can see this car is designed to be as low as possible because it's a coupe, number one, and two, it's a sporty driving car. So actually when you sit inside the car, tukiingia kwa interior utaona, you do not sit on the car, you sit inside the car, which is reminiscent of BMW's slogan, the ultimate driving machine, or wenye wamezoea ile ingine, Freud am Farem, or sheer driving pleasure. Now this tukikuja hapa kwa wheels, we have 17s. These are not stock. I believe the E46, whether the 325, the 3, we started from 16-inch rims up to around 17s. And I even think we had some 15-inch, especially with the 318s. Kulikuwa na zile hata zilikuwa na steel wheels, which are quite ugly, but the M3 had some 17s and 18s. Now we wameka 17s, which make the car look way better. I believe these ones zinajaza the wheel well vizuri. We have a very small gap. You do not even need to add some lowering springs. It just sits nicely. So wale watu wanachukia hii gap, I think we have about 3 inches of a gap, which is acceptable in BMW language, ama in BMW world. So yeah, I think that is about it for the side profile of the E46 3 Series BMW. I think sasa tutaenda nyuma, we talk about the boot space and also Chris Bangle's design. Now at the rear of the E46 3 Series, and hapa ndio tunaona the design, the influence of the design by Chris Bangle and the other guy mwenye tulisema hatutataja hiyo jina ngumu, and the design of the rear lights, the tail lights rather, I find that they look very good, especially with this amber turn signal and an LED tail light. Now nilisema the E46 came about with the mambo ya technology. It introduced a lot of technologies, and the E46 iliweza kukuja na LED tail lights. Haikuwa na LED in the front. It used xenon, which was one of the best at the time before they cracked the code ya kuweka LEDs in the front, but it did have LEDs huku nyuma, which ukiangalia the lens hapa ndani, the lens, and then you see hapa ndani we have some elements where, you know, LEDs, I think they look much better compared to the normal bulb lights, and this is quite a nice design in terms of the shape, in terms of the layout, and also tukiangalia hapa kwa boot we have this spoiler Looks like it was aftermarket. I'm not sure whether zilikuwa zinakuja nayo stock ama standard, but yeah, this one fits the design quite nice. It is a small ducktail, and tukikuja hapa we see that we have a different badge at the rear. Now this car seems to have what we call a Racing Dynamics pack, which is a company that tunes BMWs. Na ukiangalia ndani we have the pedals pia ni za Racing Dynamics, and so I think it is fair that we have a Racing Dynamics badge here at the rear. Tukiangalia hapa hivi we have the normal license lights and the lip yenye ina cover the license, and then we have a key where you can actually lock out or unlock the boot. Na ukisha unlock the boot, tunakuja tunaangalia the boot space. We find that being a BMW, obviously we have struts, even though these ones may be a bit old, zinaweza kuwa zimepitia maisha kidogo, but you know, it's easy to open the boot because of the struts. And something I found very interesting with the boot, the lid, the boot lid of the E46, is this design hapa ya, do we call them legs ama these things ziko hapa zenye zinashikilia strut. We have two legs ama two arms, whatever they are called. I found this design to be very interesting. I don't know the use, but I think it just makes the boot easier to open. Na tukiingia kwa boot yenyewe, tulisema mimi sio Al Karanja, but this car being a coupe, you will be able to fit 3 male goats at most. Mtu kama director wangu mwenye anaendanga huko ushago kutembelea home, I think this car would be quite nice for carrying 3 male goats. 3 full size male goats zitakuwa zimetoshea hapa vizuri, well ventilated, and for those who want to carry long items, you can be able to pull these latches, viti zinaanguka, so that you can load your lengthy items, whether ni tripods kwa watu wenye wana shoot na pengine utaki kuifold, you can actually lower the rear seats. Zile seats tulisema ni za watu wa lift, you can actually lower them. We have a provision for where you can keep your jack, mahali unaweza eka your spanners and some tools, and also where you can actually place your first aid kit. And tukiangalia nani, you can see we have a bottle of oil. Now if you have a BMW na ubebangi spare oil, mnajua BMW, you know, gari ikimwaga oil does not mean that it is problematic. Hii inaitangwa kusweat horsepower. So when it is sweating horsepower, you need to add some of it. So the reason of carrying a bottle of oil ni kwa sababu these cars are powerful. Sometimes they will sweat. Na ikisweat ina sweatingi oil. So you just add some oil to make it happier. Now, in terms of boot space, dhani kuna kitu ingine nafaa niongelee hapa. But one thing to note is that if you have heavy items, we have quite a huge lip, a huge load lip. So kama uko na suitcase unajaribu kutoa hapa, inaweza kwama hapa if it is a heavy item. So because the boot is quite deep in terms of height, no items zinaweza kwama hapa kama ni mzito ushindo kutoa. But yeah, that's about it for the boot. Na nikifunga tutaelekea hapa chini, we have a very interesting looking bumper. And the bumper itself, tukiangalia, we miss a feature called parking sensors. So this one did not come with parking sensors. You'd normally find them here. Na the owner of this car, alichange engine, lakini kuna kitu hakufanya. We can see that we have a single tip exhaust. I don't know, sijui kama tutaingia kwa the sound of it ndio tujue kama it does justice to the car, and also if it lives up to the Racing Dynamics badge. But I think it would have been better if it had twin exhaust tips, or even better, because the design of the bumper is sporty, you can actually add another two to fake the M look, yeah, the M3. But yeah, that's about it for the rear design. Next tunaingia the interior of the E46 3 Series BMW. Now the interior of the E46 BMW 3 Series. Now this is somewhere you definitely want to be in. Now ukiangalia tu the sitting position and the seats, tuacha tuanzie na the seat because this is a highlight for me. Now this seat is a bucket seat, kind of a bucket seat. It's a sport seat offered by BMW. Iko na bolsters huku chini and then huku kando, hugs me. And my director alinote when we were doing the driving impressions that when the car starts moving, ilikuwa ina adjust electronically, which is something interesting because easy tukiangalia see the electric version of the seats. We have manual levers to adjust the height, the tilt, and also how far the seat is in front or in the rear. Na tukiangalia hapa side ya dashboard, we have an M-Tech steering wheel which looks good with the M logo. I love this. And also tukianza kuangalia hapa kwa the dashboard, we can see that being a 3 Series yenye ni budget, you can see that the materials used might not be as soft as you'd like, but what we have here is, you know, high grade materials that are going to last quite a long time. The owner of this one ameweka some you know, some trim hapa yenye inakaa kama carbon fiber. It is not actually carbon fiber, but yeah, it just it breaks the design of the interior and makes it look a bit more premium, if you'd say. Na this era of BMWs ilikuwa inanibamba sana because of the switch gear that was used. In terms of the headlights, we have this knob that looks kama ile yenye una adjust nayo thermostat kwa fridge, which is a very nice looking and feeling. You know, it is tactile. Unasikia the clicks and whatnot. Very nice. We have on this side we have a cruise control dial yenye inakusaidia kuset a certain speed, and we also have leveling headlights, which is a feature ambayo hatujaona kwa gari zingine, you know, even modern ones, but this car from 1990s, you know, it has it. We have front and rear fog lights. Sijakosea, we have rear fog lights in this car and even in the front. Na tukikuja kwa the dials, we have the classic BMW dials. Na hii dial kwa hii gari inasema top speed is 240. And you know, when BMW puts as a top speed in their vehicle, it means that that car is able to achieve that. So that is just the usual classic BMW dials. They look good, they work good, and just being analog, the fact that they are analog, it just assures you that hata ikileta shida kidogo, no pixels are dying, you're just going to fix it easily. We have the classic BMW air vents, you know, nothing new, just the classical BMW air vents that we have come to know and love. Na tukikuja hii side ingine, before we actually go to that side, tutaongelea the stocks. I said the stocks inside the E30 are the best, but even these ones, they may have a big plastic covering them, but just the tactility, the feel of them just makes it feel more expensive, even though they've used plastic upper. And tukikuja hapa kwa dashboard, on this side we see the classic BMW look, the fact that the infotainment, the dash is angled towards the driver, because the driver is the focus when you enter a BMW. Passenger kazi yake ni kuketi, apelekwe mahali anapelekwa. So the dashboard is angled towards the driver, meaning that you know, this is the ultimate driving machine. We on this car we do have a dual zone, we have a single zone auto climate control, but we have other versions zenye zilikuwa zinakuja na dual zone climate control. And tumesikizia the climate control in this vehicle, it is still working and it is working very good, especially in this weather yenye watu wanasema weather for two. Weather for two ni wewe. The climate control in this vehicle inatoa joto more than enough, more than whatever the two wangekuwa wanaweza kuproduce. Now tukikuja kwa hii side we have that confusing dial yenye imeishi kuwa kwa BMW, whereby you set your climate control a certain way, whether ni cool ama hot, but once you turn this dial hapa katikati, it just overrides, which you know is an interesting feat that they tried. Still confuses people, but in recent models waliweza kuitoa. So the infotainment hapa, it is integrated with the AC controls, which makes it simple, because when you're driving, tulisema when you're driving a car, you're not supposed to be listening to music. You're supposed to be enjoying the sounds of the mechanical shifting and the sounds of the exhaust. And this being an inline 6 power plant by BMW, it sounds amazing. Tukikuja hapa, the owner of this one has tried to, you know, use an aftermarket, you know, infotainment system. Personally, you know, I think it's, you know, it's better, because the E46 haikuanga inakuja na a screen. Normally it just had the radio or the OBC ama the onboard computer. So this one is actually a nice addition, so that unaweza watch something as you're driving, ama unaweza watch when you're parked somewhere. By the way, you should not be driving and watching things on the screen. When we come to the lower part of the dashboard, ama the center console, if you may, we have a small storage space, and also that kakabi yenye inafunika hapo. We also have the cigarette lighter. You know, Germans back then walikuwa wanaamini kuvuta sigara ni art. And tukikuja hapa kwa, you know, the gear area, this one is an automatic. It's a 5-speed ZF automatic. Na hapa kando we have some switches, the kind we are used to in BMW. So the E30, the E36 and the E46 zote zinatumia switches ambazo ziko hapa katikati, centrally positioned. They are not on the door. So ukiingia kwa BMW unatafuta how to open the windows, kama uzipati hapa, it means that they are here. The E38 onwards zilikuwa zinawekwa kwa the door. We do not have even a single cup holder, because Germans believed that drinking and driving, you know, drinking while you're driving was actually not practical, and it meant that you are defying the driving essence of a vehicle. So kwa hii gari we do not have cup holders, and cup holders zilikuwa zinakuja kama option. You are not allowed to have cup holders back then. Ilikuwa ni aftermarket ndo unajiwekea cup holder, ama it was more of an afterthought kuweka cup holders. And interestingly enough, nimepata the old school handbrake ambayo hatujakuwa tumezoea kuona. Gari za siku hizi unapata ni the electronic parking brake, which no, I don't love, but that is the new norm. But this one is the old school parking brake, ambayo when you just lift it, it has that nice feeling, and unajua exactly where the handbrake is. Unajua whether it is loose ama if it is not working, you are able to know. Si kama ile ingine which is actuated by the computer, huwezi jua. And even that one is more expensive to fix when the actuator fails. So I prefer this one. Hapa kando we have the hazard light ama the hazard switch. Na typical BMW, when you switch on the hazard, even the hazard button lights up together with the hazard, which is, you know, it has been a nice design. It has been in BMWs for quite some time, and I still find it very interesting mpaka wa leo. We have the lock and lock button on still here hapa kando, because you know everything is angled towards the driver. Kila kitu iko mahali driver anaweza fikia easily. We have some storage up the handbrake lever, and you know, unaweza weka some coins, not really enough for you to place a phone, but yeah, iko tu, at least you can place some of your coins wakati umetoka kununua sigara, just like they would have done in German. Now tukikuja hii side ya the door sill, the lower door sill, we can see we have an M performance badge, and also you know, it just signifies and reminds you that this is a more sporty car compared to the other E46s. Tukiangalia the door cards, we have some nice materials hapa, a bit hard but at least sio cheap plastics. We have a small speaker grill just next to the door handle, and also we have another pod hapo chini. We have a nice looking door handle ya kuvuta, and wenye wanga wanatafuta the switches ya ku adjust the side mirrors zinakuanga hapa in the older BMWs, in the E30s, E32s, E23s, zote zinakuanga hii area. So in case umeenda kuswitch, umeenda kuchange the position of the side mirrors, ukose huku ndani like the regular cars, zinakuanga hapa kwa mlango. And generally mambo ni simple. We have like I mentioned, we have some racing dynamics pedals in this car. Nilisema iko na some items from Racing Dynamics, even the pedal, the accelerator na the racing brake, the brake pedal pia ziko na Racing Dynamics, just to show you that this one is a bit more special. So we have the hood latch. This one is before the time where BMWs you had to pull twice so that the latch opens, and we also have a button for the boot, which is very nice. So I think we are going to go in the rear tuone kama mimi in this position yangu ya driving, am I able to fit in the back? And before that tuingie, you can see that it is going to be a hard fit, but tuende tuone mambo iko namna gani. So I'm behind my driving position, and yeah, it's not as comfortable as I thought, but it is livable. So kama tunaenda safari mrefu inaweza kuwa ngumu kidogo, but kama tunaenda from town to maybe home, maybe like 10 kilometers, yeah, it is quite easy to live here. But normally inafaa kuwa tu space sana sana either ya watoto ama ya pets. Now the thing that I'm noticing ni ati my toe room is compromised, but in terms of headroom being a bit slanting, it is quite good. We have about an inch of headroom, and yeah, hapa pia materials ziko sawa. Nikiangalia hapa, we have a tiny armrest where I can place my arm, and then the sides are padded very nicely. We have a seat belt as well, and also nikiangalia hapa juu unaona we have a hook where you can actually place your coats. Oh, and it has a very nice mechanism, and you push once to open, you push again to lock. Very nice design, very nice use of this space. Now ukishafunga hii ka hook, hata uwezi jua nini iko hapa, so hata mimi nimefinya tu nikapata it's a hook. Yeah, so interior space here quite nice, na tulisema hii dirisha inafunguliwa pale mbele, so as you can see hapa kuna a motor iko hapa ndani inasukuma to the outside, so utakuwa unapata some ventilation. It won't be as claustrophobic as you would think. Also, I find that this window is quite big, so yeah, kutakuwa na aeration kazuri, and the fact that it is a coupe, niko hapa tu karibu na the rear windscreen, so we have enough light inaingia hapa ndani kwa cabin. And yeah, the interesting thing of being a coupe, and the fact that hapa nyuma ni space ni kidogo kiasi, it's a bit more compromised compared to the sedan, ni ati the person who is seated behind here utaweza kupatia dere story easily without having to lean, because the driver ako tu hapa mbele yako. You do not have to shout kuongea na watu ndani ya gari. So being small and big at the same time inakuwa very easy in terms of communication. And yeah, that's about it for the interior of the E46 BMW. So next tunaingia kwa the driving impressions. Stay tuned. So the driving experience of the E46 BMW 3 Series. So the first thing you will note is the sound that this car produces. It sounds very good. You know, you can actually feel and hear the vanos kicking in. So vanos tunasemanga ni the variable valve timing ambayo ina release performance when you need it na pia inakuwa efficient when you want the car to be efficient. Now suspension wise also, you're going to note that it is quite firm because this being a BMW, you expect, you know, it is comfortable, but at the same time in terms of handling itakuwa better being the sporty version is slightly more less compliant, if that makes sense. It is less compliant than the normal E46s that you find on the road. So in terms of sportiness, it is quite engaging. Na hii M-Tech steering feels very nice. Niko na grip mzuri sana. I can actually even drive with one hand and still feel that I am in control of the vehicle. So tuko mahali rough road somehow, and you know, we were trying to look for, you know, somewhere where we could you know, drive this car spiritedly, lakini because of time and whatnot ikakuwa ngumu kidogo, but yeah, you know, from my experience of driving this car, I've actually enjoyed, and you know, it gives you that BMW feeling that all BMWs usually have, and I love that because, you know, zinakupatia feeling nyingine poa sana. Even the owner of this vehicle anasema inambambanga sana, you know, that daily drive from work to home, you know, itakuwa too comfortable na you can drive spiritedly knowing that it is going to make it na ita feel underwhelming. So in terms of ride quality, in terms of power, very good, which is typical BMW. It is very hard kupata mtu ana complain about the power of a BMW. These are the ultimate driving machines. You would never expect less in terms of either handling na pia the driving feel. So positioning, everything iko in my reach. Kama nataka kuguza the climate control, anything I want to adjust, iko easily reachable thanks to the curvature ama the way that the dashboard is angled towards the driver, who is more important than the passengers. And also one thing I forgot to mention ni ati tuko na side airbags ama curtain airbags on the doors as well. So if umepata side impact, mtu ameku T-bone, you're going to be safe. So in terms of safety and driving feel and experience, kila kitu iko sawa. So naona tumemalizia hii mambo ya the E46, so tutaenda kwa the conclusion so that we tell you guys hii gari ina suit nani, and yeah, who is supposed to be buying this car. Yeah. Na unfortunately or fortunately tumefika kikomo ya the E46 review by BMW, na tumesema hii gari tuseme is mostly for people who are wanaanzia familia hivi juzi unapata you've just had your kid, kwa sababu in terms of practicality ya nyuma is not for carrying adults per se, especially in my driving position. So tuseme tu hii gari sana sana ni ya young people ama wenye, you know, people who are looking for a sporty feeling car, this one is for you. Kama uko na ndio unaanzisha familia yako, this one is for you. If you are old and retired and maybe you want to take your wife and maybe your pet for a drive, also this car is for you. Now this car is owned by an engineer anaitwa Dennis, and he works at RBG, and he finds this car eco suitable for what he needs and what he does. And I actually want to plug in RBG Engineering. RBG Engineering in a deal na Metalworks in terms of folding and all any work yenye unahitaji ya metal whether it is bar work, whether ni strong gates, whether it is doors ama frames za dirisha, and anything kama ni sculpting na anything to do with steel and metals, you just have to contact RBG Engineering. I'll leave a contact so that you guys can get in touch with them. Kama uko Nyeri, hii barabara ya kwenda Nyahururu, hapo tu kwa junction hapo King'ong'o, ukiingia tu kwa junction ya kwenda Nyahururu after King'ong'o, opposite Shell, you will see a big wall. Huko ndio RBG Engineering. I also want to thank my director for making this possible. I want to thank my producer kwa kutupeleka hewani, and I also want to thank you guys as Auto Insights fans. Na tunasemanga Auto Insights is the ultimate destination for car enthusiasts and consumers. Kama kuna mtu anataka kunifollow on a personal level, TikTok utanipata at Auto Insights KE, Instagram Auto Insights KE, and on Facebook utanipata at MaysPix, MAYSPIX. And I think you guys, I want to leave you guys na challenge ama homework. Kama uko na gari interesting ambayo unaweza taka ikuwe featured on the channel, just reach out to me na tutaweza kuileta, and we'll do a candid review of the vehicle that you'd like. So hadi hapo, kufikia hapo, you guys are the best. Mjienjoy, go out and drive and enjoy the world. If you didn't know me and if you forgot, my name is Mason. This is Auto Insights.
Familia bora hujengwa kwa upendo na hunawiri zinapopata nguvu. Kila tonge la Jumbo Grade 1 lina nguvu na wema.
Leo ni Jumbo, lazima tukae gangari.
Kutoka jikoni hadi kazini, Jumbo huhakikisha una nguvu hata baada ya masaa marefu.